Hello YouTube, Multi-Holsters coming at you once again. www.multiholsters.com. My email address is multiholsters@yahoo.com. I wanted to come to you today. This is going to be a video response to Will over at Garage Holsters. And basically he was asking me to show a video featuring how I make the clip for my inside the waistband holster. This holster is one of the latest ones I just made. This is kind of unique. I did do a leather lined inside to protect the slide. If you follow my channel and whatnot, you know that in the past I've made entirely interior leather lined holsters, and that takes a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and I'm trying to streamline the process where you still get a good holster with good definition and good retention, but you also have the protection of leather on the inside against the slide. This is my Kimber Raptor. It is safe. You're going to have to trust me on that. I'm not going to waste video time on it. And basically, this leather lining comes in contact with the slide and helps to minimize the wear on the weapon. So with that being said, this clip here, it's on a little bit of a cant. You can put it on a straight draw or whatnot, but this works for me for my Raptor. And basically, if you want to take a quick peek look at it before we get started, this is what I call the fold-over clip. Basically, this has a couple of routed out notches underneath, so when you have the holster, it's really easy to manipulate with a couple of fingers. I take mine and just one hand, put it on over the belt, or when I'm ready to take it off, pick up on it and slide out. It's really easy, really quick for, like if you're going on the go, something quick to install, where it's not going to take a lot of time like some of the bigger holsters. But nonetheless, that is the clip we're going to be featuring today. I start with some 1/8 inch Kydex, which is basically .125. It's 1/8 of an inch thick. Get all my stuff over at knifekits.com. They are great turnaround time and really helpful down there. Basically, I take it and I cut the strips to be about 1.5 inches wide on my bandsaw, and that's where we all start now. Bear with me here. I'm going to basically go step by step, so if you do want to duplicate this, you can see what it's like. And just to let you know some of the stuff that I use, that you're going to need. I kind of feel like this is like a baking channel. I almost feel like Martha Stewart here. But these are invaluable. This is how I make a majority of my clips. These are hand brakes. This is what an aluminum cider uses to bend small pieces of aluminum on your house. And since I come from that industry, I've kind of integrated holster making with home improvement, and you got to kind of be innovative to make it work. But these are hand brakes, and they're going to be an invaluable tool in this process. Also, let me see if I can adjust here. A couple of spacer blocks that I use these on an everyday basis, and you really have to use what blocks work for you, and that'll come up in a little bit later on in the video. Why I have what I have here. They're kind of unique blocks, and if I lost them, I'd be going crazy, because they are perfectly sized and angled, and I'll show you everything, especially this one with the blue tape. It's kind of rudimentary tools here, but I make all these holsters by hand. As you all know, this is all handmade stuff. A lot of people ask me if I have anything in stock and whatnot, and typically I don't, because everything that I make is pretty much custom to your needs as far as color, belt size, cant, gun. People want bigger sweat shields, bigger more Kydex around covering the magazine release. I mean, whatever the case may be, I make all these custom. So anyway, back to the clip. Sorry. So I have this piece of 1/8 inch Kydex, and it's cut to 1.5 inches long. Basically, I put a pencil mark at about maybe 1/4 inch, 5/16 below, and basically what you want to make sure that you've got a perfectly even cut piece and square at the top. And I put a pencil mark. It's kind of hard to see. You can kind of see that. Right at the top, because that's going to be my line on where I'm going to bend it. So we're going to heat it up for a little bit here. And basically I just want to heat the very top piece of it. Now I'm not heating it, this is what I would say upside down. Heat travels upward, remember that. I'm sure you all know that. So I am heating the very top of it because all the heat, I don't want the lower part to be heated at all because then it's going to deform. It's going to take the piece out of squareness or straightness, or flatness I should say. So I'm just heating the very top of it, keeping the top part of what I want heated to get the heat, and kind of angling the heat gun upward so I don't transfer any of the heat to the lower part. Almost there. Okay, so I take my handbrakes, I put it on my line. Fold it over. Take another piece of wood, a little small block. And just flatten it out. Now, if you see, I've got this on a little bit of a less than a 90-degree angle. I don't know exactly what angle. I would say probably 80 degrees. And basically what I want to do is I don't want this to be a right angle right here. I want it to be a little bit, so this is where the belt goes. If this block would where the belt, I want the belt to catch, if that makes sense. Okay, so now you've got a nice bend in your piece of Kydex, and what I do is, in order to properly size it, I take, well, let me get a holster that doesn't have a clip on it. I take my holster now, but basically, like I say, this is for another video, but I'll show you how to do this in another later video. And I block that out. Anyway, raise this part here because when I put the screws on, the back part of the screws, I want the screw heads to be away from the weapon so it doesn't scratch it. Basically, I take the dimension from the lower part of the block area and I kind of line it up. Then I take a ruler, and let's say I'm going to be making the most common size belt size that I make is 1.5 inches. So then I size it to the bottom of this fold over. I go about maybe 1 5/8. Just give myself a little bit of extra play because I don't want, if you got an 1.5 inch belt, you don't want it incredibly tight. Then from the top of where this area is on the holster, put a little mark on it, and that's where I'm going to cut this off. So bear with me here. Okay, so now I have a clip, and this height here is going to differ. If you got 1.25 inches, be a little shorter. 1 3/4, be a little bit larger. I'm sure you all know what that is. So now I'm going to belt sand okay, and basically what I did was I just evened up the sides a little bit, evened up the top, and I took off the corners. Just so when I round it with my Dremel tool, it makes it nice and easier, and a nice round, not sharp corner. I like to break the corners just so there's nothing sticking into you. Dremel tool, big part of how I make the holsters. Has a like a drum sanding disc on it, or sanding drum on it. Very, very helpful. This might get a little loud. Probably not going to be talking during this, so here we go. Basically, all I wanted to do on that process was make my fold over notches for my finger. This is where my fingers are going to grab to pull up on the clip. So the next thing I want to do, and the other thing is I took this and I straightened it out, because when you fold this over, I want this to kind of be this edge here. I want that to be on the same plane or parallel with the clip. Just gives it kind of like sharpens the corner a little bit to help grab the belt if need be. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to I kind of put like this little bit of a roundness in the clip. You don't have to. I do it just to give it a little bit of character, and basically it helps to just dress it up a little bit. You can go straight, not that big a deal, but I personally like doing it. And just let me show you the type of belt sander, because this is the only way that I'm able to do it. This belt sander, or bench sander, has kind of like a routed out, or not routed out, a rounded piece at the very top here. And that is how I get my roundness. Now obviously I got to do this with two hands, so I can't control the camera, but let me see if I can do this. And basically what I do is I take a couple of areas, I put a couple of marks, and how far I want to go. I don't want to go too much on this because this part here is going to be folded over. But basically I'll take a square edge and I'll mark it out on how far I want to go with this little cutout here. And there you go. Still a pretty rough piece, but you can see I give it that little bit of a curvature. Next, what I do, take the Dremel and clean up all the edges, and then how I finish my edges is with the Dremel at a 45-degree angle to all the edges. So here we go. That's pretty much it. It gives it a pretty nice edge. Now you can hand sand the edges a little bit more if you'd like. Wet sand them. I think the Dremel does a pretty decent. I've got a pretty fine sanding drum disc on there, so it actually gives it a pretty decent edge. So then you just want to erase those little pencil marks. So next, what I do is, this block of wood here has, I made special, has, this is at 1 5/8 side. So it's made perfectly to accept my, and then this is 1 3/4. I have one that's also 1 1/4 and 2 inch. And basically it is, I had this beveled, and you'll see what I'm going to do with this next. Take a clamp, hold down on it, put it at the edge of my workbench. I'm going to heat this up. I'm going to try not to heat this portion here, but it's nice that I take it to the end of the workbench. I'm able to heat it from both ends, kind of trying to push the heat that way so I don't heat this up to deform the flatness of it. You can see it's kind of getting pliable. If you do this enough, you'll get to learn how long it takes for each piece. You get a sense of what its heating point is, and how long you have to work with it, and how long it takes to heat it. And then basically I take my hand brakes, put it on here, on the edge about 1/8 of an inch away, then I push down and in. I put it on a little bit of an angle downward because I want the clip to have a little bit of a downward part to fasten to the holster to ensure that it, what am I trying to say? That you know, you have definite retention towards the back of the clip. I'll show you here in a second what I'm talking about. But basically, I'm doing this quickly so it may not come out perfect, but that's basically it. Now what I want to do is, I want this clip, I don't want it to be straight, I want it to be a little bit back, so when I attach it to the holster, and you put the screws on it, it pulls it in, and it definitely gives you, you know, a strong clip. So that's essentially the clip. That's basically it. And then of course I take a drill bit and I drill a couple of pilot holes in here, typically right in the center, and about 1/4 to 5/8 of an inch in. Drill them, line it up on my holster, drill those holes, connect the both with a couple of Chicago style screws, and basically that's it. You got a couple of different variations. This one here is on my SIG, and you can see that I kind of had to flare this out. That's the beauty about making this stuff. You can really kind of make it to fit your needs. And I got the choice to put on a double rubber belt loop on here if I wanted to, but I'm kind of partial to the clip because it's a little bit easier, it's a little bit less, you know, printing, it's a little bit lower profile, and you know, it's one-hand application. And you know, when you put the screws on, like I say, you want a little bit of you know, you want to make sure that that clip is touching the holster strong, so it's going to hold on to the belt real good. And that's basically how I make my clips. Now you can see that when I fold it over, it gives it, you know, a pretty good room for the belt. And basically I do half and half. So when I block the part out on the holster, sorry about that, when I block this part here out on the holster, it's about half the distance, about half the distance in here. And then one thing I forgot to mention was I take rubber vacuum hose. I think this is like 3/16 ID. And you get this in any auto parts store. And you get a tube cutter. And I cut my small rubber grommets to fit in between the holster and the clip. Now, why I do this, you ask? For a couple of reasons. First of all, a lot of times I have to space it out a little more to give a little bit more room for the belt. The second reason is if I had Kydex to Kydex, this would be incredibly hard because we're only dealing with that much and this stuff is pretty strong. So I like giving that little bit of a buffer with the rubber grommet to make this a little bit not so rigid, because if you were, you'd be fighting this thing, putting it on and off, taking it off the pants. So I like giving that little bit of a space in between, just to absorb you know, being able to pull up on this. It does help quite a bit. Now, if you wanted a stronger clip, by all means, go Kydex to Kydex with no rubber grommet in between, and you should be good to go. So basically that's it. Hopefully this was helpful, and thanks for subscribing, thanks for all the support, and I guess I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.